All right, what is going on, Fit Over 40 Tribe members? Coach Dave here. Super excited to bring you another episode of the Fit Over 40 Challenge Show, the number one health and fitness show for those of us in the club. That's right, the 40 and over club. Today, I'm going to talk to you about how 2020 was a great year. Now, before you go into, oh my gosh, he's crazy, hear me out. Let me explain to you basically how I looked at 2020. So, this is going to be the final episode for 2020, the podcast. Looking forward to another great year next year in 2021, season 4. And I really just wanted to take a few minutes and just thank you guys. Thank you for listening to the show. Thank you for all your support. I appreciate it. Again, all the reviews, positive comments, all those things just help. Help me understand, is this something that you guys are really buying into and really, feel that it's beneficial to you. And then it helps with the mission of transforming lives. Again, that's my main goal, is transforming lives. And with you guys leaving reviews and all that stuff, sharing it, that helps promote the mission. So thank you for that. Again, it wouldn't be a great show without you guys, so I do really appreciate that. And moving into 2021, already starting to think about some of the things that I'm going to change up, bringing maybe some more guests on, as well as still continue to provide content and information for you guys. If you have any suggestions, though, please just reach out to me either on social or you can email me at dave@davemcgarry.com. All right, so let's go ahead and jump right in to today's episode and today's show. And what I wanted to do something just a little bit different. Every year, I try to sit down around this time, and again, as of this recording, it's December 22nd. So we're coming up on the Christmas holiday and then the new year. And I like to take the time to just kind of reflect and to think about everything that, had happened in the past year, and then obviously moving forward into 2021, into the next year. And so as I sat down and started thinking about this, I might be just like you. You might have been thinking, man, we're going into another decade. We're entering into another decade. How amazing is that going to be? I mean, we've got, 2020, new decade. Man, this is going to be the best 10 years of my life. And then we started off in January, New Year's, celebrating everybody. We had a great big party with friends, and we were so super excited. January came, started the year, kicked things off. One of the things that, we had planned on was my wife and I celebrating. We do it every year. We celebrate our birthdays together, and we did that. But man, who would have known what would have happened after that and starting in, let's say, March? Obviously, nobody planned for a pandemic. Nobody thought that 2020 would start that way. And boy, has it been a roller coaster. And again, I know some of you guys out there are still hurting right now and still trying to find your way through this. And I get it. I'm not going to lie. It's not been completely easy for me either. But what I wanted to do today and in today's podcast was I wanted to talk about the 20 things that I'm most grateful for that happened to me in 2020. And I got a little bonus one at the end for you because we're going into 2021. So I figured there'd be 21 total. Always want to leave on a high note. So this is really kind of in no particular order, maybe a little bit. But again, I wrote down 20 things. And see, one thing that I'm not perfect at this, but I did get better during quarantine, was writing in my journal and keeping a gratitude journal. So every morning when I woke up, I decided that I was going to write down one or two things that I was grateful for. And I was just going to just sit there and be grateful for that and for that moment. And so I actually went back and I looked at some of the things that I wrote down. And so I want to share some of those. And again, I said 20, and I might have been able to do even more than that, but um, I wrote down 20 things. And again, here's the first one I put. I said being alive for another year. Again, you can't enjoy life if you're not alive, right? And so as I'm writing listening, sorry, as I am speaking this, I am alive. And I am grateful for being alive, that I'm able to open up my eyes and I'm able to breathe and still be a part of this world and still be able to do the things that I do. The next thing I put is being healthy all year. Now, I've been very fortunate, have not had any sort of sickness, any sort of illness, and no, I have not had the virus. Again, I'm superstitious, so I'm trying to stay away from saying I'm going to knock on wood right now. Again, I know that I've had several friends and family members who have, but I'm very thankful for being healthy all year round. The third one is we spent a long weekend in Vail, my wife and I. And this is what I was kind of talking about right before I started. Every year we try to do something for our birthdays. Mine's on the 18th, hers is on the 4th. We went to Vail, her and I, and we kind of combined it into a work trip. She works on Vail Resorts, and we stayed in an amazing resort in Vail. And we just spent 3 or 4 days together, her and I, skiing, Vail, Copper, and Breckenridge. And it was just amazing. It was really super cold, but man, I got to get out in the mountains and I got to be outside in what I call God's country. And it was just so great. And again, we spent the weekend together. It was Super Bowl weekend. We actually got there on Super Bowl Sunday and watched it with a bunch of people in a bar, and we hadn't done that in a long time either. So it was a great time. And so I'm super thankful for that long weekend that I got to spend, with my wife. That was the third thing. The fourth thing, we actually spent a week in Breckenridge. And when I look back on this is kind of where things started to get a little dicey. For spring break, we were boarding the plane, and the market had started to crash. I guess, if I recall correctly, there was some situation with the oil, Saudi, and I don't know if it was Russia. I can't remember, but the oil markets tanked and the overseas market. And, at that point, there had been mention of a virus. It still wasn't, I guess, declared, as a pandemic yet. But we got on a plane and we went to Breck. We went skiing and we spent the week skiing. And although there was still news on here and there, of course, I couldn't keep myself from not watching it, especially with the markets going as crazy as they were and everything that was happening. We did get to spend time together as a family and outside in the mountains skiing, and it was just a fabulous time. Obviously, coming back, that's when everything went crazy. And then from there, we spent basically the next, I don't know, was it 60 some odd days? First slow the spread, and then the 30-day lockdown, and then there was some more, obviously, until things opened back up here with gyms and stuff for me working. So again, that was the fourth thing: spending the time with Breck, or in Breck with the family. The fifth thing I said spent 36 straight days having dinner with the family, and again, that might even be a low number. I think I kind of stopped counting. But why do I bring that up? Because due to the quarantine and due to, the stay-at-home orders and everything that we have going on in our lives had just had us going a mile a minute. I mean, just, who's dropping off at cheer, who's picking up at dance, who's got this game. And it just was always nonstop. And especially during the springtime, because that's kind of competition season for cheer and dance. And we actually spent every night eating dinner at the dinner table. Now, if you are listening to this and you're in the club, you probably are still in that generational time period where we ate dinner as a family. Now, again, as I got older and started playing sports, that thing started to change there too. But when I was a kid, but we had dinner time. We actually sat down, and unfortunately, in today's time period, most people families don't have dinner together, and so we made the best of that moment, that time period, just being together. And I think that for as long as we're alive, we'll remember that time period. And so I'm very grateful for that. And although as painful as, you know, losing a job or being furloughed or, economy being shut down and maybe losing your business or something like that, for me, being able to spend that time with the family was great. And so I'm super grateful for that. Where are we at here? That is number 6. I said worked outside with my wife during quarantine. So what I mean by that is we worked out. We started running outside. The gyms were closed. We did some at-home workouts, but we were outside running. We live in Texas, so things weren't too crazy and cold. And so we got outside and we became outdoor runners. And it was great because we would go out and do it together. And neither one of us were great, but we became better runners. She's actually amazing now, too. She's running, I think, probably better than she's ever ran in her life. I mean, she'd have to answer that question, but it's really, really great to see her. And then it was just great to do it and spend time together. And so we did that. Then we did that during quarantine. And just, again, it was a time period that I probably won't get back, but who knows, we might one day start working out again outside. But we prefer to work indoors. Anyway, I ramble. So let's see here. Okay, that was number 6. Number 7, we did 30 days. Oh, I did 30 days of the Facebook quote of the day to help put out positive messages for everybody. So I made a commitment to do a quote of the day. I had done this in the past. If you're friends with me on Facebook, you've seen it. But every day I just decided that I was going to try to do a quote of the day and to just try to lift people's spirits up and keep positive and push us through that time period. And for me personally, it was just a great opportunity to connect with people and to help use some of my gifts, which I feel I have, to help transform the minds of others. And so that was great. And so that was number 7. Number 8, I got to see if I can read my writing. That's the problem here. So I'm also a coach at Orange Theory Fitness and just saw some amazing generosity with the members there. The coaches got furloughed, and so at this point, there was no stimulus package for anybody, and it was extremely hard to get on to unemployment, and so some of the coaches didn't have any income coming in, and the members and the community at the studio that I work at just was amazing, and they were so generous and raised money for all the coaches, me included, and it just was so just heartwarming and just amazing to see the generosity and see the love that they poured out to us. So super, super grateful for that. All right, so where are we at? Okay, so number 9, technology allowed me to still communicate with friends and family. So I was thankful that we had technology. We had the systems, whether it be Zoom, Facebook Live, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, all those communities, and super, super grateful and thankful for them because we were able to use those to continue to communicate. I mean, you might have done the same thing. We had some Zoom family time. We used FaceTime. We played a game with my family back home. Obviously, Zoom workouts. I did a lot of Zoom workouts with members and clients and continued to use Zoom, right? And then, Facebook Live and still connected with people on Facebook. And just, I was super, super grateful and thankful for the technology. Number 10, both my girls graduated from prospective schools and moved on to new schools. So this was, obviously disheartening for them in one sense that my youngest finished elementary school and my oldest finished middle school, but they did it virtually. But they both graduated and they both moved on. And so now I have middle school and a high school. And, just thankful for that the girls are still continuing to grow and develop and be educated and continue to move forward in their schooling. And so getting them to continue to move on to the next level is just something that I'm super, super thankful for. Number 11 is, So one thing that I did was I started basically my new company that is going to be rolling out in 2021, and it is going to be called McGarry Wellness Solutions. So that kind of came to me during quarantine. I've had a vision and goal of creating a bigger wellness business that helps transform the lives of others. And so that came to me, and the McGarry Wellness Solutions name and business was created. So more to come on that. So super excited. Again, a business created during the pandemic. Number 12, I celebrated my mom's 80th birthday. So if you have not already listened to it, episode number 80 is with my mom, and I got to do a podcast episode with her, and I'll be so forever grateful that I did that, because I'll have that, and I'll always be able to go back and just hear that message that she left for me and for the kids and for everybody that listened to it. So I'm super grateful, and I'm super grateful that she is still in our lives and that she's still alive and she's still doing well at the age of 80. And she celebrated her 80th birthday during a pandemic and came out and visited us. So super grateful for that. We spent Mother's Day at Broken Bow with 3 other families. This kind of goes back to having that time, that freedom from all the busyness. Typically during Mother's Day, actually, one of the things that, I guess if you want to look at it the opposite way, my wife and my youngest were supposed to be at Disney. My daughter's team had qualified for Summit, which is the highest competition that you can go to. You get invited there. And yes, disappointed it had been canceled. And she didn't get to go, and she was extremely disappointed. But because we didn't have that, we were able to go ahead and get 3 other families together, and we went to Broken Bow. We went out into the woods into an amazing, beautiful cabin that had just been built, and we spent the weekend there and had an amazing time just connecting with them and deconnecting from everything that was going on, all the social media and just the craziness of what was happening. And we just were together with a group of friends and really had an amazing time. Had the pandemic not happened, who knows, we may not have done it. We had talked about it, but we may not have been able to pull the trigger. So getting to spend time with them in that situation and in that scenery and was just amazing. So then I wrote down number 14 is we became closer to these 3 families. We call ourselves the tribe. We had been friends for years, and we've gotten together periodically, New Year's, Memorial Day, a couple times maybe during the summer, but we really, really grew closer. We bonded, the husbands and the wives, and then all of us together, and just super, super grateful and thankful for that, and to continue to grow that relationship and friendship with them is just an amazing thing that's happened in 2020. This might be somewhat, it's not really too repetitive. Number 16 is used Zoom to continue my life group in church. So I teach a life group Bible study weekly, and obviously churches were shut down. We couldn't gather, but we used the technology again to continue to keep that going. We used the Zoom for the small group, life group classes. And so we got to continue to dive into the word, into the message, and continue to grow and fellowship with them. So super, super thankful for Zoom and for the life group to continue, even though we had to do it virtually. So we're moving on now. We're kind of going into the fall here. The number 17 is I saw my oldest daughter perform at her first varsity football game. So she had tried out and she actually had to try out virtually, first time ever doing that, and made what's called the Sweethearts. And this year, obviously, there was a chance that football was going to be canceled, but they figured out a way to do it, and they got it done. And so she was out there at halftime performing with the band and the drill team, and it was just amazing to see her out there on Friday Night Lights, which in Texas, Friday Night Lights is huge. And we were super excited to see her perform throughout the year. And I think I put some more. That's one of my other ones. But I got to see her do her first performance. So that was great. Number 18, speaking of my daughter, she's going to be 15 soon. So she's excited about possibly driving. And we took her, or I should say I took her, to the school parking lot. And we drove around the parking lot for the first time. And so that's my very first time teaching one of my kids. And so I was super thankful that I was able to do that and that we were able to just have that time together. And so I'll let you know how it goes once she gets her permit here. But anyway, we move on. Number 19. Again, this is where I'm going to say we, kind of a little bit redundant or we spent Friday nights, throughout the entire fall watching, varsity and perform Friday night during the Friday Night Lights. And so being able to do that every Friday night was just super, super fun. Spent some time with some friends, and we just really, really enjoyed that opportunity. Number 20, coached over 3,000 classes as an OTF coach. So I have been also, other than doing my online coaching, I also coach at Orange Theory Fitness, in case those of you that don't know that. And I had crossed the 3,000 class mark. So it's a pretty big milestone. And I was able to do that once we got back, opened back up, and did that probably a couple months afterwards, maybe 3 or 4 months afterwards. And so just a super great milestone because, obviously every time I get an opportunity to coach people live in person as well as online, I just have an opportunity to help transform somebody, whether it be physically, mentally, or spiritually. And so I'm super grateful to be able to do that and to get that 3,000 class is just a tremendous, gratitude in my view. So that was number 20. Now number 21, and this is where basically I said bonus. And again, I could go back and probably continue to add to these, but I launched a 28-day program back during the lockdown and had several new people go through that and start to see results. And so it helped me create my signature program that I'm going to be launching in 2021. And so I'm super grateful for the opportunity to have had that 28-day challenge because it really has now put me into place to launch my signature transformation program that I will be launching in 2021 to just continue to help more people. So there you have it. 20 plus 1, 2021 things that I am grateful for 2020 and how 2020 has been a great year. Again, I might have hesitated a little bit there because I know that it's been challenging and I've had my ups and downs. I'm going to be honest with you. But if I look back and I just kind of reflect, there's been some great things that have happened. And as I said just a second ago, I think there's even more things that I could write down as I start to just even record this podcast. Because if we look at the positive things, things will continue to be positive. If we look at the negative things, your world will continue to be negative. And so I'm going to choose to look at the positive things. I'm going to continue to do that. There's always going to be negative, and there's always going to be struggles. And through the struggles, you become better. And you can always, I believe, find the good in everything. As hard as it might be, I know that there's a good and there's a reason behind everything that happens. Again, life doesn't happen to you, it happens for you. So, I hope that, if you're listening to this before the new year or just right after the new year, you just take some time and you reflect. Really think about the good things that have happened in your life. And if 2020 was really that horrible and you can't find anything great, go back another year. Go back 5 years. Find something great that had happened in your life. Change that negative to a positive. Get positive again. Start thinking positive. And again, I'm not saying that, thinking positive is always going to change things. It might take time, but it sure is better to think that way than to think negative, at least in my opinion. So with that, I hope you have a tremendous Christmas season, holiday season. I hope you have a happy new year, and I hope you're ready to make 2021 a great year as well. I'd love it if you'd share this. If you have anybody that needs to hear it, if you thought it was great, I'd love to just hear your comments. Tell me what things that you are grateful for in 2020. You can find me on Instagram. You can get me on Facebook, LinkedIn. Just send me some positive things as well. All right. With that being said, this is Coach Dave. I am signing off.